welcome to Zero Hanger TV. I'm your host, Phoenix Trinidad, and as always, I am joined by Zero Hanger Chief AFL Editor, Mitch Keating. How you going, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
It's good.
So
Always good.
Thank you. Nice polo.
Thank you. That's all right.
Yeah, go on the gym later.
We'll work with costume next week. That's all right. All good.
So we are just around the corner from opening round for 2024, which is very exciting. So today we're going to be breaking down our ladder predictions for 2024 and then some pre-season predictions, which is always very interesting. I like making a big call. There's a couple of pretty interesting ones, even with the ladder predictions.
Always big calls from you.
Yeah, love a big call. All right, so ladder predictor, how did we go about this? So we actually took the fixture into account this time.
Yeah. You guys over at squiggle.com helped us with this because, it's not really easy to put your ladder together when you want to take every game into account. Like, what mine probably spat out was certainly a lot different to what I might have had in mind, if that makes sense. And that probably just goes to show when you are factoring in every single game and every single result and fixtures for every club, that it probably is going to look a bit different to what you can probably do with an eye test. And we'll probably talk about those differences that I probably would have had if I just quickly did a 1 to 18 compared to what we kind of were left with at the end. Both top 8, the clubs that have just missed out, and even some of the clubs in that bottom 4 or 5 had some surprising results. So fair bit to take away from, I guess, doing it a bit more extensively, and it doesn't exactly put out what you might have done if you were just doing it quickly.
Yeah. All right. So we'll look at yours first, just because there might be more questions than mine later. So Brisbane to finish on top.
Yeah. Well, that was actually like beforehand. I've got the Lions winning the flag, and we'll talk on full predictions later. But they finish on top and only ahead of Carlton by percentage and 0.5% at that. So very close between those two, and 20 wins each as well in a 23-game season. I'm pretty sure they would have gone maybe undefeated at home again this year. No easy feat to do, but they did very, very well at the Gab, obviously, last year. So, and then Carlton, my runners up as well. So as far as, kind of how things panned out, for what I can see, then it's actually turned out accurate enough for what I was assuming might be the outcome. So Brisbane and Carlton first and second, and then Melbourne and GWS third and fourth. So that would see Carlton host Melbourne in the first week of the finals, in a nice little rematch from last year. And then Brisbane hosting GWS, and then kind of that interstate clash. That'd be pretty enticing top 4. But obviously the big miss is Collingwood at 5. Like I said, they're only a win out from Melbourne in third. And there's a lot of games that'll go, either way for those probably 3 clubs in third, fourth, and fifth. There is a 2-win gap between Melbourne in third and Carlton in second, but it's still very tight between those 3. Pies even have a better percentage than the Giants in this model. So, obviously, you're the premiers, you're going to have the tougher draw, and there's going to be a lot of teams that are looking at how you played last year. And obviously, while they'll adapt themselves, there'll be a lot of sides kind of looking to get the better of the best side. So that was probably a surprise. Like, I think my top 4, I probably would have had Collingwood ahead of GWS in a quick 1 to 18. But I guess this is kind of the effect that the fixture will have, especially when you have a tough fixture. And then rounding out the top 8, Sydney in 6th for a home elimination final, and then Port Adelaide and Adelaide in 7th and 8th. Mm-hmm. So the Crows being the only side that didn't make finals last year to come in, and St Kilda being the side that misses out, and they finish 9th.
Yep.
So that's my top 8, or top half if you have the Saints. But I think probably the biggest surprise as well was the gap between 8th and 9th. So Adelaide 14 wins and St Kilda in 9th at 10 wins. The 16-point gap really suggests that there's a big separation between the top 8 and the bottom 10.
Yeah. And
given that as a result, it makes the bottom 10 really, really tight. And not a lot of clubs with winning records. So very top heavy when you look at the top 8 compared to the bottom 10 in the ladder predictor.
Right. Well, going into the season, before I did the full predictions, taking the fixture into account, in my head it was going to be the closest season probably ever.
I assume so too.
Yeah, that's what came out with mine. So looking at my top 8, I had GWS finishing on top. I'm big on the Giants this year. I think they got within a kick of a grand final last year. They got a nice list pretty much all across the board, and I think they're primed. Adam Kingsley is looking swole, which I think is going to come into account somehow. And then, top 4, Brisbane in 2nd, Collingwood in 3. I think they're just going to have another dominant season. And then Melbourne rounding out the top 4. Port Adelaide coming 5th. And then Adelaide, I think, going to... as I said, I think a couple of weeks ago, they've got a nice fixture coming into this season. And then Carlton 7th. I had them... I think they'll do well this year, but... a lot of people are tipping them for the flag and for a grand final at minimum. I don't think they're going to get there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. So you have Adelaide in 6th with 14 wins, and the Crows finished 8th in mine with 14 wins. So we're looking at probably the same results for them. It's just kind of how everyone else goes around them.
Yeah. And then the big call is Gold Coast. I think they're primed for their first finals appearance. So. But then again, only a game separating them from Western Bulldogs, and then that lower tier, Fremantle, Sydney, St Kilda. So mine looks a little bit tighter from that 6th to 13th spot, but that's how I think it's.
Yeah, well, that's probably how I envision it as well. Like if I'm doing a quick ladder, that's probably very similar to what I would have had. Maybe swap Gold Coast for Sydney in the 8.
Yep.
And that's pretty it. And they're very tight between 6th and 12th.
Yeah.
So from a results standpoint, I think that's probably what we're in store for.
Right.
Very tight in between, and then you've got 3 teams winning 20 games, which will be some feat as well. Obviously, that means. Teams at the bottom aren't winning all that many games.
No.
And we'll have a quick look through.
There will be a lot of upsets. Like I didn't really tip too many upsets, but
it's kind of like it's kind of hard. Like if you're looking at West Coast, yes, the perfect example. We've both got them winning 1 game. I think mine was their home game against North, like they did last year. I had North winning 5 though. You had North winning 1, which is probably the big difference. And you're right. It can be hard to tip an upset. I think obviously North winning 5, you're tipping. That's at least probably 2 to 3 upsets for the season. Like you can argue they'd maybe chalk up a win against West Coast, maybe a win against Hawthorn, and they have to kind of spoil someone else somewhere. So, it can be very difficult when you're just looking at, who's the better team and where's the game? And that can pretty much make your decision. But, law of averages suggests that the West Coast Eagles won't be winning just 1 game.
Well, I did also have them drawing with North Melbourne because I just couldn't decide on who's gonna win out of those 2. But looking at the bottom half of your ladder, so St Kilda to miss out, Geelong to miss out, Western Bulldogs to miss out. There is that, and I think we both had Richmond around. You had them a little bit higher than me, but for me, they're that team that can finish, anywhere from 6th to 16th, basically. And there's a few of those teams coming into this year. Yeah,
for sure. We spoke a couple of weeks ago, and I think Geelong won't be up there. They might not be too far off, but I certainly probably didn't think they were going to be 10th like they are on my prediction. Richmond certainly could be pushing in the 8. St Kilda definitely could be in the 8. Dogs the same. Essendon, I thought would be higher, but 15th with 7 wins. And they're one of 3 teams with 7 wins. They just got the lowest percentage of all 3 clubs. So, that bottom 10 being St Kilda, then Geelong, the Dogs and the Suns, then Richmond, Hawthorn ahead of Essendon. Fremantle in 16th isn't good reading for Justin Longmuir. North Melbourne only a win less than the Dockers in 17th. And then, West Coast 1 win. So that if this is kind of how it does pan out, can't see Justin Longmuir lasting. Can't see Adam Simpson probably. 1 win. They just want. I know it's not all results based, but that'll come pretty heavily on him. And then the other one as well, Luke Beveridge. The Dogs finish 11th, like another season without finals. He is contracted for next year, but you'd think that there certainly comes a fair bit of outburst. If that's where they finish.
Throughout the season, I had Western Bulldogs were in my top 8 throughout the season, and then I have them just dropping out. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting season for the Doggies because their list is, incredible, but they just can't seem to put it together. So, so that is ladder predictions for 2024. Some interesting stuff. I can't wait to see how this pans out.
Can't wait to read all the feedback. It's going to be good.
Beautiful. Drop a comment if you on whose ladder you think is more accurate, I guess.
Well, I actually think yours might be. Like I said, you maybe swap one team in the top 8, and I actually kind of like yours more, I think.
Yeah. I'd love to see Gold Coast make finals. So here's hoping. So we're going to move over to the 2024 preseason predictions. So this is an article that we have up on zerohanger.com. Get there for all your AFL news. So we sat down and we've got, everyone across Zero Hanger has put in their predictions, but we'll go over ours. So as we said, premiers.
Yeah, I said Brisbane before.
Yep.
Minor premiership.
Yep.
Couple games at the Gabba, and then they'll finally lock in that.
Yep.
That 4th flag.
Yeah. I had GWS as my minor premiers, but I think it can't go past the Ds. They just...
No issues whatsoever.
Yeah, no issues whatsoever. I think we're going to be playing the heel a little bit more this year, and then, sometimes the heel wins.
Yeah. No, I've had Melbourne with 19 wins, top 4 finish, and yeah,
it's anyone's game once you're in top 4. But we've both got us in top 4. So, that's my tip. So runner-up.
Carlton. It's the same as finishing second.
Yep.
Home finals at the MCG if they win first week, and then stay in Melbourne all of September. Pretty helpful. A match up against Brisbane would be really, really good to see. But I reckon they'll fall short in the end.
Yep. And I've got GWS, the minor premiers, as the runner-up. We've gone over our top 8s in the ladder predictions. So Wooden Spoon, we've both gone with West Coast. I think most people are going to be going with West Coast.
Yeah, it was unanimous, I think, across the team as well. Like North should be a bracket above, and it's really hard to see anyone else kind of falling below that.
Yep.
So, I think it was an easy choice in the end for most.
Beautiful. Brownlow.
It's got to be the Bond.
I feel like he's everyone's tip.
Well, to be fair, like Nick Dacos last year probably would have won it if he didn't get injured, and even when he did, Bond couldn't get it. But classy, durable, and even though I didn't have the Dogs, in the 8, I don't think he needs to bank on wins to win the award. Yeah. So, I've got him winning it.
I've got Tom Green from GWS. I think I like Bont as a tip. I don't know if they're going to win enough games potentially, so to get those. But again, Bontempelli can get 3 votes in a losing game. But I think Tom Green's going to have his prime for a very good season in that midfield.
21 wins you've got GWS at. So, if he's polling, 2 to 3 votes in half of those, he's going to be doing pretty well.
Yeah. Coleman?
This was a weird one. Like I wanted to say Larky, as well as he did last year with 71 goals in a 3-win season. Yeah. While they could win a couple more games. Yeah. You do have Lucky. Yeah. I just think Curnow will be it again, 3 in a row. It's an interesting pardon me, it's an interesting race. Like Curnow the obvious, Larky right there. Walker's such a mystery if he can keep it up. There'll be a few coming through. King Brothers, Mitch Lewis, because Jeremy Cameron get back to his best for a full season. But it's hard to go past Curnow.
Yeah. I did mostly just pick Larky to be a little bit different because everyone's going to go with Curnow or Cameron. But
I think across the team, Larky was easily the most picked. I think I think 3 had Curnow, 1 had Ugelhagen, who's a bit of a smoky, and then the rest were Larky. So
I didn't look at anybody else's. I only care about mine. All right, so Rising Star.
George Wardlaw.
Okay.
I think if he stays fit, he'll win it. Just has a pretty senior role in midfield for North Melbourne already. Really nice pre-season. If not him, it could be probably McKercher, his teammate, or Riley Sanders. Don't see Harley Reid winning it.
Yeah. obviously going with the bias pick and going Caleb Windsor.
Not a bad pick.
Yeah, he was looking great in those preseasons. Going to debut opening round and hopefully holds down that wing spot with Hunter out for a few weeks. So I'm putting a lot of pressure on Caleb Windsor for my emotional stability this year. AA Smokey.
Matt Rao. I think it's a Smokey. Yep. Hasn't won it before. I don't think he's been in the squad before. We said a couple of weeks ago that he's going to be right up there, I think, as their best midfielder, potentially going past Anderson and Miller this season. He's probably been afforded, time to be a bit of a deputy to both of those guys over the last 2 years after coming back from injury. And I think he just explodes this year.
Yep.
And just puts himself in the top echelon, much like a Tom Green would as well this year if he didn't last year. So yeah, Matt Rao, probably my AA Smokey.
Yep. Mine is Jesse Hogan. I think, again, I've gone with pretty much just Melbourne and GWS players for everything, but
someone's got to kick their goals. if it's not Toby Green, and if they got a key forward that's on song, it's probably going to be him, given how well his form was the back end of last year.
Yeah, as long as he can stay fit, which has been his main issue in previous years. In hindsight, I probably should have put him as my Coleman pick as well to be different. But
you put not that he definitely will, but 60 goals can get you, a spot at AA. You just have to be the second or third best forward, really.
Yep. And major headline that we'll see this year in 2024.
I think we'll get a coaching succession plan. I think a lot of people will tip sackings and we'll definitely get at least one. But I think a succession plan will come in. You could probably rubber stamp Port Adelaide and
Hinkley,
with Josh Carr and Ken Hinkley, but I think Sydney's probably one you could keep an eye on. I think Longmire re-signed until I think it's the end of next year, but they could have something kind of planned for beyond that, whether it's a Dean Cox or someone that they've got.
Have they nominated? Is Dean Cox probably the front runner for that?
Probably would be. It also could be a move that kind of, if West Coast need a new coach at some point, he'd be one that they might consider. And the Swans might move to have Cox kind of locked up for 2026 onwards, if they rate him that highly.
Yep. All right, and my headline for this year has been is going to be Melbourne culture problems deemed a non-issue after an internal investigation, which I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
That's that might happen.
Look, we're going to finish top four. And wins fix everything in a club. So
the investigation would just be like, oh, we're winning, that's fine, we're good. Yeah,
that's pretty much how it rolls in AFL football, isn't it?
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, well, that wraps it up for Zero Hanger TV this week. It's our ladder predictions and our preseason predictions. Jump in the comments, let us know what you think. I think there might be some people that disagree with some of my stuff. Yours is fine, I think.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and catch all the latest AFL news at zerohanger.com, the #1 independent AFL news source. Thanks, Mitch.
Thanks, Phoenix.
And we'll see you later.